Hey everyone, welcome to a new video, welcome to my channel. My name is Maaike, welcome to my hobby channel Floating in Dreams, where I like to talk about all things fashion and makeup. And today's makeup related video is another installment of my eyeshadow palette extravaganza here on my YouTube channel. And today we're talking blue-green palettes. So what do I mean with the blue-green palette? These are 5 eyeshadow palettes that I have in my collection that have both blues and greens, and I'm sort of coming to this video as a bit of preparation for a video that I have planned for next month, and that's when I want to rank all of my blue-green palettes, because after purple, blues and greens are my favorite like colorful shades to wear, and that's why I do have quite a few palettes, but I've also decluttered some over time, and I thought I could do a ranking of blue-green palettes, but I just don't have as many as I have that I could fit into the purple category. And one of the reasons for that I found out is because some of these palettes, if I reach for blues or greens, it's not just a blue palette or a green palette, but they actually are combined in the same palette usually. So for me, I feel that blues and greens just work a little bit differently than purples do, because I have plenty of like standalone purple palettes that I love. But with blues and greens, I feel it's either more difficult to do or to get it right or whatever. So when it comes to like favorites and like palettes that I would reach for if I want to go for either blues or greens, I very often don't even think about these standalone blue or green palettes. I reach for one of these 5. And I have 5 of them here in different categories and different price points. There's a bit of drugstore, a bit of affordable. Some of these are going to be harder to find, I'm not gonna lie. And I just thought we could have a grand old mooch about some blue-green palettes. What are the differences between these 3? So I'm not ranking them yet. We're gonna do that next month when I also pull all of my other blue-green palettes into the mix. But I just wanted to sort of talk about who I would recommend these for, what the quality is like of each one, and where you can get them if you're interested in these, and which one ultimately would be my favorite of the 5 things that are on offer here that I have. I don't think this is everything that's currently on the market. I think there are a couple of other like blue-green leaning palettes, but these are the ones that I feel are across the board quite comparable. And if you were looking for a blue-green palette, I don't think you need all 5. You could very easily just do with one, and you could do a lot, I think. So it really depends on what your preferences are, what you would like to go for, and that's why I thought I could do this video. I think apart from one of these, I have reviews up on my blog with 4 of them. So I will make sure to link those in the description box. And the one that I haven't reviewed yet, that's going to be part of my 10 palette eyeshadow review, which is also going live in September. So there's a couple of things you still need to stay tuned for, but there's also plenty here that I already have. So I'm just going to talk about these individually first, and then we're going to get into a bit of a comparison and see who are these right for. So the first palette I have here is the sleek Nautical collection Calm Before the Storm eyeshadow palette. And this is the one that I believe has been discontinued. If you can still find it and you're looking for something that's quite affordable at a drugstore price point, then I actually think that this guy, I mean, this was my first ever blue-green palette that I ever bought, and this is what made me realize that it's a color story that I really like. Yes, I still have the little sheet with all the names here as well. So this is more blue leaning, I feel, than true green, because the greens you get are a little bit more of these like turquoisey aqua kind of shades. They're not full-on greens, but that does mean they pair with the blues really well. And in here you get some neutrals as well. So there are a couple of neutrals, so you could do a full-on neutral look with this palette, but you can also, you know, work in a pop of blue on the lower lash line if you want to, or go for a full-on blue look, for a full-on green look. Like, I feel that this, for how curated it is, it's got a lot of options. And what I also love is that the 3 neutrals here at the bottom are cool toned. Very often, especially with blues, you see a lot of brands putting them together with like peaches and like warmer tones, because blue against like an orange is a really nice juxtaposition. Sleek did do, what was it called? ooh, I forgot the name of it, but they had a very warm tone palette with like a really bright pop of blue. That's one of the other sleek palettes that I keep around in my collection because it's the only warm tone palette with a pop of blue that I actually own. I never really fell for the hype. I also don't own that new ColourPop palette that a lot of people are raving about. But yeah, you do get cool tone neutrals in here. You do get one warmer tone brown. You get like a shimmering champagne for the inner corner. And then you just have these lovely brighter pops of blue and turquoise to really get the look together. So for me, like I said, this is where it all started. So I had to give this a shout out. And it's one of the best sleek palettes I ever tried as well. Like this is one of my favorites. This is still in my collection after all these years. I still own this. I still like this. I still look at this and it makes me happy. Do I use it a lot? Not anymore, because in terms of blue-green palettes, I feel there are other things on the market that work a little bit better. And also at a very affordable price point, because I think that where Sleek has sort of discontinued that, if that's something you're interested in, but you would like to get something that is still available, at least I hope this is still available. But the e.l.f. Earth and Ocean eyeshadow palette is a lovely alternative to the Sleek. But here you can see what I mean, because it does have a couple of neutrals over here and also here, but they're all very warm tone leaning, and I don't understand it. I mean, it is lovely. This is a bit more grungy. I feel that the Sleek one is perhaps a little bit more like neutral wearable for every day, but if you like that grungy vibe, then these like grungy, greenish, mustardy, olivey shades really take this palette to another level, I feel. In terms of greens, we don't get a lot of green in this palette, I feel. It's really like these two shades, and this one pulls a bit more green, but it can be brown depending on what you put it with. But these are golds, these are neutrals, so really these are the only two greens that you already have in here. And I feel that also if you have this, you can forego a lot of the 4-pan mini bite-sized palettes that e.l.f. does. I like the quality of this a lot better than the bite-sized palettes. And a couple of the color stories like that hot jalapeno, that's right here, and also the acai, which was one of the worst ones quality-wise that I tried, you sort of get over in this side of the palette. So I feel that buying one palette will do what you would need like 3 or 4 bite-sized palettes to do for you. So yeah, this does have neutrals, some golds, some greens, but for me the palette really lives on this side of the palette because you get some really stunning blue shades in here. They are, again, quite murky, grungy blues. These aren't like super vibrant. I feel that the ones in the Sleek one are a bit brighter almost. Over here, you really only get this in terms of brightness in the blue department. Everything else is quite murky, but my 3 favorite shades in the palette are Underwater, Abyss, and Tundra. And this is one of the best silvers ever. It's a really good silver. This is a great teal shimmer, and this is a really good, more teal leaning navy kind of matte. So I feel that that's a look. And then you get these really nice grayish tones. This is almost like a periwinkle kind of shade. Saltwater is a really nice, like almost duochrome leaning shade. So again, I feel this is a very versatile palette. It's very affordable. It's got great quality. And I think this is my recommendation for people who want blues and greens with some warm tone neutrals, but who don't want to spend a whole lot of money, because the other ones I have for you can be a little bit more expensive. So if you're looking for something super affordable, definitely go this route. Now, all the other palettes I have for you are indie brands, because I think that where it's at when it comes to colorful shadow, indie is definitely the way to go. And you can still buy the Certifeye Affinity 2 palette, and it's on a massive sale because Certifeye has announced that they will be rebranding. When, where, how, what, nobody knows. But that's what they've said on their Instagram. So their Affinity palettes are on a massive deal. I think they've been like discounting these at 50% off for like the past 6 months or so. So if you want a blue-green palette on a deal, get it while you can, because this is going to disappear soonish, I think. And this is not my favorite blue-green palette because it just is a little bit too bright. You do get loads of options, at least it looks like it in the pan. However, I feel that a lot of these shades pull quite samey on my eyes. And even though it looks like you get some really stunning deep shades, on my fair skin, and if you were deeper skinned, you may want to layer these over a white base to make sure they truly popped. And I feel that on me, and if you were to use the light base with this, you will really definitely get that brightness to come through a lot. And I just felt that these two shades didn't do enough to really create depth and definition compared to everything else. So what this is a bunch of brights that all have like a similar level of brightness. And that's why this isn't perfect in the way it's laid out. However, you don't get anything that's overly neutral because everything that looks kind of neutral has a bit of a duochrome to it. Like these two are duochromes. This is a duochrome. This is the only thing that I think you could use as a neutral in this entire palette. So in terms of blues and greens, it's definitely more blue-green than both the e.l.f. and the Sleek. It is more green heavy than it is blue heavy. So I wish there were perhaps that this would have been a blue so that we really get 9 blues and like not like, you know what I mean? That would have been a little bit better for me. And I felt also that some of the shimmers in here didn't have the same vibrancy. I feel that Certifeye is really good at doing mattes, but their shimmers are a little bit lackluster. So that's why this one wasn't perfect for me. But if you're looking for super bright, really vibrant blues and greens, then the Affinity 2 from Certifeye is definitely what you need to go for, because I feel the other two options I have for you are murkier and a little grungier than this is. This is like boom, bright in your face, super vibrant blues and greens with a couple of interesting duochromes. So it's got a lot going for it, but there's a reason why I put this on my declutter pile. However, now that I'm looking at this again, I think I want to play with this again, and I think it can actually work really well with some of the palettes I'm about to show you to add that vibrancy that I feel some of the other ones are lacking. So maybe I just need to keep this around. This is why it's always a bad idea that you say, oh, I'm going to declutter this, but I still want to use it in a video, because you end up falling in love with it all over again. And then next up is the Menagerie Cosmetics Whale Song palette. And I know that this is A, an expensive palette to buy, and 2, really difficult to get depending on where you live. Menagerie Cosmetics is a US small indie brand, and they've been having a lot of trouble with shipments going across the globe. So I believe that currently they're again not shipping internationally. They did for a little bit, but they've had some issues, I believe, with people placing orders and then withdrawing them. And because the order was placed with PayPal, they need to pay the money back, but they also lose the product. So it's for a small indie brand. That's of course not the best. But yeah, they've been having some issues with shipments ever since the pandemic started to happen. So it is difficult to get, and they ship by weight. So if you're not in the US, these palettes are not worth it to buy by themselves. Menagerie is a brand I only recommend you buy from. If you're not in the US, only buy from them if there are multiple palettes you're interested in, because then you can make it worth it. But yeah, this is what the Whale Song palette looks like. We get blues and we get greens, but they're all murky. They're very, very grungy. And that is something that I'm not sure why, but I feel it's not as balanced, where this one is too bright. This is almost, well, I wouldn't say too dark, but for instance, these two shades look really distinct in the pan, but on my fair skin, whether I use either one of these, they kind of just blended together into one shade, and it looked identical. And I had the same issue with some of the greens, and then you get some of these like olivey tone greens, which are really pretty, really grungy, but again, I just need one of those, and then I don't really get a shimmer to go with it, because this shimmering green is quite vibrant, this shimmering green is quite vibrant, and actually it pulls a bit more blue if you put it with the blues. So this is like the lighter shade that's going to tie everything together, and then this blue is also quite deep. So I feel I don't get the shimmers that really go with a lot of the mattes, and Menagerie tends to do quite matte heavy palettes. even though they have a stunning shimmer quality. So I wish this had an extra shimmer for sure, because this is just a pink and I'm like, this should have been another green, like, or a bright blue or something like just another tone, I feel. And I feel that some of the shades just blended it together a little bit. So that's why I'm actually now inclined to keep the Certifeye around, because I think that these two can really complement each other really well. I'm not sure I need it though. I mean, if I want to go for that super grungy blue-green look, then this is definitely a vibe. But it's definitely, like, it's just a little dark. So for me, it wasn't perfect. So we've nicely built up to what I would recommend if you want to buy just one blue-green palette. I've been recommending it for years now, and that's the Beauty Oceanic palette. This was in my, if I could keep only 10, it's been in my favorite all-time eyeshadow palette videos before, because I feel that this does everything that the other two can do on its own, but then all in one palette. You get 15 pans, it's got depth, it's got definition, but then you also get these really nice bright pops of something differently. You get the bright shimmers you would want to go with these things, and where the Menagerie gives you 2 matte olivey shades, this does give you that olive shimmer that I was talking about. This again has the teals that I love so much in the Earth and Ocean from e.l.f. So I feel that for a 15 pan color story, this gives me every blue and green that I could possibly want. I have the other ones. Did I really need them? No. So that's why I'm saying, if you want to buy just one, get this. It's still available. But if you don't want to splurge, then get the e.l.f. I think that these two are your best bets. Let me hold them up together. So if you want something more affordable, go for the e.l.f. You get some neutrals in there as well. But if you just want the blues and the greens, and you don't mind spending a little bit more, then get the Beauty. This formula is also one of the better ones from Beauty that I have tried. I've also tried, there's like more rectangular palettes that they do, and those I wasn't a big fan of. But this, I thought was really lovely. The shimmers work well, the mattes blend well. I wish, again, maybe one more shimmer, but that's my shimmer loving heart, because I tend to prefer shimmers over mattes. That's just who I am. But yeah, this is still, till this day, my favorite blue-green palette. But I feel the other ones also have something going for it. So who are these right for? As a quick summary, if you want neutrals with just a pop of green or blue and you want to try it out, then I think the Sleek palette was really a good beginner's palette for me. Maybe difficult to find though, so please don't go out of your way, because the e.l.f. Earth and Ocean, I think, is the affordable option to go for if you like blue-greens and you don't want it to break the bank. So if you don't want to spend too much money, go for the e.l.f. Now, as I already mentioned, the Beauty is my perfect pick. So this is top of the line for me. So that's definitely there. However, if you want your blues, greens just to be a bit on the grungy side, and you really want it to be dark and yumminess, then the Menagerie Whale Song is going to be for you. And if you like a very bright, vibrant blue-green palette, then you need to go for the Certifeye. So that would be my conclusion to this video today. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more by me. I've got a couple more videos coming your way in eyeshadow palette extravaganza, including, of course, my eyeshadow palette collection video, which is going to go live sometime next week. So I really hope you would like to stay tuned for all of that goodness, and I hope you have a great day. Hope to see you in my next one, everybody. Bye-bye.